objective could have been achieved by other means, by other routes. So arbitrariness is a matter on which the courts always intervene. Whenever a government makes an arbitrary decision, courts intervene in judicial review. Second thing I said, the government is unreasonable, because I had been writing letters to the government saying Rama Setu, because of this report of the Geological Survey of India, is worthy of being considered as an ancient monument. It's a civil engineering marvel. So make it, investigate and find out whether it is worthy of being declared as a national ancient monument. I didn't say that it should be a religious institution or anything like that, and I said ancient monument. The government was flatly refusing. They were writing a letter, no, we are not interested, we are not going to do it. So I said this is unreasonable, because the Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Act says that if anyone brings information to the government that such an ancient monument exists, the government is duty bound to investigate. So I said they're being unreasonable. And third, I said, which irritated them no end, that this decision is afflicted by bias. And courts have always intervened when you have proved bias in decision making. I said bias is that Karunanidhi is got a phobia about Ramchandraji, and therefore he is deliberately selecting this route because he wants to humiliate the memory of Ramchandraji, and therefore Karunanidhi should not be, and his chelas like Balu should not be part of the decision making. The whole decision making should be redone minus them, and that is. So since I didn't speak about Ramayana and I didn't speak about anything else, the court gave me a stay. And that stay got last August. After that, this whole process began of argumentation, etc. And final, after lots of adjournments, because the government did very stupid things like filing an affidavit saying, challenging me, saying the ground doesn't exist. And there was a big roar, and the BHP arranged chakka jam throughout the country. And so they got frightened and they withdrew their affidavit, and then they took 6 months to file a new affidavit. And finally in May, the hearings, 1st of May to 6th of May, the hearings were held. And in that, many of us participated, because there were many petitioners after me, many others came and affiliated themselves. Jayalalitha also said, I want to be also part of this. So she also filed a petition. Then Rama Gopalan's petition was there, and some Kalyan Raman's petition. There were so 5, 6. So we brought a top lawyer for each of them. But for me, I did not have keep a lawyer. I went myself. I'm an economist, I'm not a lawyer. But I had the blessings of the Acharyas, Swami Dayanand Saraswati. I had the Shingeri Swami, who said you must do it. And I had the general approval also of Ashok Singhal, when he said that I believe, of all politicians, I believe you the most, so you go ahead and do it. So therefore, first I made all Soni Sarabji, Parasaran, Venugopal, I said you go first. And they went and battered the court on the technicalities, on the constitutionalities, etc. And finally my turn came, and I spoke for 8 hours. First whole day I spoke for 5 hours. The next day I spoke for another 3 hours. And at the end of that, the court had to, I spoke for so long that we came near the vacation time, because the court had to rise for vacation. But what surprised me is that the court then issued direction to the government without hearing the government. That was what's interesting. Go back to the drawing board and find out why you cannot have an alternative route. And come back and report to us, because then we can challenge that report if they came and said, no, there's no alternative. I have in fact suggested one extra alternative. I said, if your objective is to go from Tuticorin to Chennai, to Kakinada, Visakhapatnam, Calcutta by the shortest possible route. Then what you do is you convert Tuticorin into a container port. And when the ships come, they will leave the goods, have railway lines start from the port and go all along the coast to Calcutta. So the goods will be then put in railway wagons and then taken, or have a freeway, expressway or a turnpike. These I proved by economics, and it's there in my book, that are cheaper than this Setu Samudram project. In fact, the development spillovers would be much more. So they have to look at all that now. And I pulled out from the minutes of the Setu Samudram project meetings to show that the Planning Commission had suggested that you please look at this also. And they had rejected it, saying, no, our mind is made up, we're not going to look at it. And so the court pounced on that also and said, have a look at this. That's one. Second, the government said you are duty bound to conduct an archaeological survey to find out whether Rama Setu is worthy of being named as an ancient monument. Do the investigation and come back. And the archaeological surveyors now have given a public statement that in order to meet international standards for this investigation, it will take us another 4 years. So for 4 years, meantime, I hope there will be a good government, a nationalistic government, and Rama Setu will be good. I'd like to say one thing, that one of the questions that is posed to us is, to me particularly, why you are allowing religion to block development. This contradiction, that you are blocking religion development by raising religious issues. Now, this is a nonsensical question according to me, because it's got nothing to do with religion per se. There was an alternative way of doing things. They have decided not to do it. I am not saying that don't have the project at all. Have the project, but there are other ways to do it, and you do it that way. And this has been our practice, that we have adjusted religious demands whenever it is possible. For example, I had received a letter from a man called E. Sridharan, who is the head of the Delhi Metro. And he has made a tremendous name by producing world-class metro in Delhi. And I had learned that he had some difficulty in scheduling the route or route alignment of the Delhi Metro from All India Medical Institute to Gurgaon via Qutub Minar. So I wrote him a letter and told him that this is what I heard. I would like a clear-cut explanation as to what really happened. So he wrote me a letter which I filed in the Supreme Court and read in the Supreme Court also. And that letter, he says that we had decided to extend the metro from All India Medical Institute to Gurgaon via Qutub Minar, and everything was set. It was a 2,500 crore project, just like Setu Samudram is also 2,500 crores. And after the work had begun, one Islamic NGO wrote a letter to the Prime Minister saying that this metro route will generate vibrations when it comes near Qutub Minar, and there are 3 graves there, Qabristans, and they will develop cracks, and this will hurt our sentiment. So the route of the metro must be changed. So he is written, Sridhar writes to me in his letter, the Prime Minister summoned me and asked me that why don't you change the route? And I said, we have done all the investigation. Not only this Qabristan, there are a number of residential colonies. None of them is objecting, and therefore, there is no question. Just because one NGO writes, you should not take it seriously. He said, no, we have to accommodate. What's your problem? He said, well, the only other route I can have is to go. Instead of going overground, I will have to go underground, because there is no way I can find land to go on an overground route anywhere else. So I have to